Good morning. It's great to be here. It sounds like you're all going to have an awesome next day at AtlasCamp. As Nick said, my name is Jean-Michel. I'm coming from Sydney, and I have one of the great jobs at Atlassian of being the head geek. It's basically responsible for our engineering platform and the technical platform. So a lot of the work that you're seeing our engineering teams build out, I have the pleasure of playing with all day long. So it is one of the best jobs at Atlassian. I'm also very passionate about developer experience and making developers' lives easier. It's something I personally spent my entire career doing, either building developer tools or developer platforms. And I'm really excited. I really do think this is my third year at AtlasCamp. That's also the most exciting, where a lot of the big bets that we've been making over the last couple of years are really coming to fruition. So enough about me. As I said, this is our 7th AtlasCamp. So we started AtlasCamp in 2008. And to get ready for the keynote, I actually went back into the Atlassian archives and found the handbook that Mike Cannon-Brooks put together when he decided to have the first developer conference at Atlassian. So this was actually the original logo that we put together for AtlasCamp. So you can see it's got a bit of the theming and a bit of the heritage about what AtlasCamp is about. It's about sitting around round tables. It's about having chats. It's about being around the fireplace and making sure that there's also some building involved. So there's some grapes hanging. This is maybe that feel of getting your hands dirty, stomping on some grapes, making sure some great add-ons come out of it. Does anybody remember what you were doing in 2008? Trying to get your head around OSGI. There was no plugin exchange built back then. No? Yeah, it was quite a while ago. But you'll see some things haven't changed. And as you actually look through the handbook, you realize what AtlasCamp was about. And what it's about this year actually hasn't changed. And although Atlassian's changed over the years, hopefully for the better, the essence of what we want to do over the next 2 days hasn't changed at all. The first thing is we want to make sure you have an awesome time here. We all have busy jobs. Things are getting busy all the time. We're asking you guys to read a lot more stuff. I was chatting with someone about Atlassian Connect last night, and he was asking me how to do a REST call back to the product. And I'm like, but that's in our documentation. You haven't read that? We spent all this time building awesome documentation for Atlassian Connect. I'm sure you've read that. And I think it made me at least personally recognize that there's a lot of information out there. So although I want you to learn that, in the next 2 days, make sure you do have a good time and meet people. The other thing is Atlassian is scaling and growing, and we really need you to help us improve. Sometimes it's hard to really understand what it's like being a brand new developer in our ecosystem, or even a developer who's been with us for a while who wants to understand and understand how's Atlassian changing, and who do I talk to, and how do I understand what's coming out next week or next month. So please give us that feedback. So let's keep this same handbook for 2004. Nothing's changed, and make sure for the next 7 years this is what we're about. So on the topic of having fun, I'm going to start off today with a bit of fun. Last week at Atlassian, we had our 27th Ship It. And Ship It for us is a big part of our culture. It's about building things. It's about getting together as teams. And it's also where we have fun. Now, we had over 100 teams actually participate last week across Atlassian. So that's not individuals, but 100 teams building things on the Atlassian platform. And we use Ship It as a way for people to think of awesome ways to make some of our users better, but also hack Atlassian and think of ways that we can make Atlassian better. So I want to share with you today a video from one of the 10 finalists out of those 100 teams, and I want you to see what they built in 24 hours.
Think about the millions of people our products touch every day. Now consider the billions we don't. What if it was possible to have a conversation with anyone in any language? Introducing BabelChat, real-time translation in your favorite chat client, HipChat. Meet Bruce. He runs a distributed team for a global company, with team members in Australia, Vietnam, Poland, and Brazil. This is an example of a HipChat conversation between Bruce and his team when one of the servers goes down. As Amanda types in Portuguese, her messages are translated instantly and appear in the local language of the receiver. team can collaborate, despite each one of them using a different language. They can reach a common goal without speaking a common tongue. An indicator next to the message shows when it's been translated and which language it's been translated from. A vote for Babel Chat is a vote for free speech. Really free speech.
"24 hours. Isn't that awesome? Round of applause. I think the best part, I don't know if you guys noticed, but they had a translation for the F word. Did you guys notice that? Yeah, that was pretty sweet. Yeah, listen, I really wanted to share this with you because I think it's a testimonial of what we were able to hack together in 24 hours, and what I want you to think about what you guys could be hacking on our platform in the next 24 hours while you're here as well. So, what's interesting about Ship It is it's not only about technology, but it's also about the people. We encourage teams during Ship It to actually mix it up and have a chance to go work with other people in other departments, other teams. Go sit beside the HR team and figure out what's getting in their way that you could maybe build that's going to make their lives easier. So similar to Ship It, I think what makes a good conference turn into a great conference is those relationships you're going to build with people. And those people you're going to really stay connected with. So I think I want to get the day and the next 2 days off on the right foot about connecting people by starting with a bit of an exercise where I need everyone to stand up, please. Everyone stand up. Actually, the Atlassians, you guys can sit down. I don't need you guys for this one. Okay, it's good. There's still a lot of people standing up. So if this is your first year attending AtlasCamp, why don't you have a seat? So thanks for coming. There's no hard feelings, but wow, okay. Wow, that's actually amazing. I'm a bit surprised. That's half the people here, and it's their first AtlasCamp. Wow, thanks for coming. As Nick said, that's amazing. If it's your second year at AtlasCamp, can you guys go and have a seat? Okay, I'm starting to recognize a bunch of similar faces now. I'm wondering if I know everyone's name. Almost. If it's your third year, want to have a seat? Wow. Okay, we've got a couple in the back. I'm going to go through the next one. Fourth year, fifth year, sixth year. How many's left? Awesome. So there we've got our 7th year heroes here. Everyone, a huge round of applause. So just so you know, they're going to have office hours for the rest of the next 2 days. So they know everything about our whole platform. They know everything about Atlassian. So go meet up with these two guys, please. But seriously, look around you. There's a lot of people, and it's not just Atlassians that are really passionate about building awesome things for developers. The next 2 days are really only going to be successful if you guys go around and mix and build those connections and look at other people around the world who are building on our platform who've probably either had the same ideas you have, who have a lot of technical knowledge about what we're doing. So after you've built those connections, what I wanted to talk about today was some of the promises that we've been making at Atlassian since 2008. And some of the next things that are going to be coming down the line that we want to commit to. Now, one of the things that we're proud about is that you measure our success, Atlassian's success, by us actually delivering on some of those promises. So if we take a little recap about kind of the history about how AtlasCamp and how our platform's been evolving, one of the first promises we made was about building products that were extensible from day one. So this started with the plugin system. So anyone remembers plugins 1, plugins 2, thinking about extensibility. Some would think that we were actually really open from the beginning. There's an amazing number of things you can do with our products that in some ways you can hang yourself with, but it's also something that's really exciting, and there's a lot of opportunities with it. The next big focus is around design. So just enough is one of our design philosophies at Atlassian. And around 2 years ago, I stood up here and I talked to you about the design journey that we're going on at Atlassian and how, although you can extend and customize our products in heaps of ways, at the end of the day, our customer experience is really important to Atlassian. And the way in which you are writing add-ons that look nice, that look sexy, that integrate in the Atlassian suite is really important to us. So we publish things like the Atlassian Design Guidelines. We've been working heavily investing in the Atlassian user interface library as well to make it really easy for you to build awesome-looking, sexy-looking add-ons that don't look like they're built from someone else. We want to make sure that all of our stuff, all of our products, when they're actually shown to our customer, looks like it's coming from one company. And we essentially treat you as Atlassians from that regards. So we've shipped a design language that's really, I think, augmented a lot of the extensibility we have in our products. The next big promise we made was we wanted to build a platform where you can sell and we can make it easier for our customers to actually access our add-ons. So this is where the marketplace came in as kind of the foundation for all of the big bets that we've been making. So the marketplace was released around 2 years ago as well. It had huge success. And this year, as Nick said, what I want to talk about a lot is how the cloud is transforming not only how we extend our products, but also how we sell it and how our users are selling it. So you'll see a big theme through our products this year around how we're actually going to make the cloud successful now and how we want to bring extensibility to the cloud and extensibility at scale. So making the cloud possible is only going to happen because we've got some products that are evolving and are changing. So I want to share 5 of the most important product changes and releases. And I'm going to add a little bit of a developer spin to each one of them to give you an insight about how I want you to be thinking about each one of our product releases when you put your developer hat on. So think of this as a bit of a behind-the-scenes tour. So the first thing is HipChat. I showed you the ship it, which actually was hacking HipChat. We believe that there's a huge power in real-time communications as a platform. You know, the ship it demo you saw earlier is a great example of about how global software development can be really impacted and improved by real-time communication. And the experience is actually better when we bring it together. We've worked a lot on helping teams structure their work, you know, whether it be with source code or with JIRA and planning. That's a very kind of structured approach to things. And we've got an awesome platform for workflow and structuring things. We've got an awesome platform with Confluence around having things that are a bit less structured, conversations, commenting. You know, we don't really enforce structure, so it's making sure ideas come out freely. And HipChat's a really awesome complement to that, which is it gives you that really awesome real-time platform to it. HipChat may be the biggest user base that you have over the next 5 years as well. So you've seen all the releases that we've done with HipChat over the last 2 years. We made it free last week. There's a free plan in which you get most of the features except for video and screen sharing. So our user bases are increasingly are growing really quickly in HipChat, and it's a huge development platform. So I want to share with you a secret of that ship it that you just saw. So one of the ship its that was in the top 10, there's 7 lines of JavaScript that made that happen. That's it. You guys believe me? This is one of the exciting things about the web is how some of the stuff that we're building is actually a lot simpler. So what we've done this year is we've been extending the HipChat APIs. And what this does is basically allows you to embed a HipChat window into any website. So in this case, it's just a vanilla web browser. You can embed this as imagining you want to chat with an agent, or you have customers where they want to bring some real-time capabilities directly into their products. You can do that. So all the ship it did is actually added some JavaScript Chrome around the chat viewer that did some of the translations. So sent the translations over to a translation service and decorated some of the chat windows with those little buttons that you saw. So you can actually, we did auto language detection, and we actually decorated some of the windows. So you can see how powerful that is. We're coming out with a lot more kind of JavaScript languages and libraries that you can embed in your apps. So as a developer, really think of HipChat as a development platform. And HipChat's being used internally at Atlassian as probably more importantly than a real-time platform. It's actually an animated GIF. Oh, shit, sorry. I should have, let's see if the clicker works. There we go. It's an animated GIF distribution platform as well that's used all over the place. So if you haven't written a bot in HipChat, it's actually really, really fun. A couple of ideas for you is, this is the Atlassian Connect's HipChat room, and there's bots running in here that do things like, what's the weather going to be? Can I bike home? And will I get rained on tonight? So just a lot of fun stuff that you can happen in HipChat, which is really fun. So talk about teams that are dancing. The next product release and product feature we've been working on this year is really looking at software teams as a whole. And this is not a specific product, but just really bringing all of our products together. So software teams are still a huge focus at Atlassian. And what we've done this year is really looked at what it's like to be a software developer and what are the main pain points that you have. Like, do you guys remember what it's like joining a new project and you want to figure out how do you get set up? Where do I find the source code? Do you guys branch with every feature? How do I do that? The same thing about how do we build it? How do I know what builds are running? How do I know how to get things into production? And the last thing is, most of your code you're writing right now, if it's in the cloud, is running 24/7. How do I know where it's running? How do I bring the metrics back? So we looked at this whole developer lifecycle without necessarily saying we've got one product that's going to solve all of them, and really systematically looked at how we can improve all of them. And one of the things that was pretty clear is that JIRA's at the center of all this. Although as a developer, I'd say the more time you spend in JIRA is probably the less time you're in your IDE, which is not a good thing. But it's where the team comes together. It's where you can see what other people are working on, and it's usually where you come and start working on something. So for software teams, what we've done this year is we've really brought all of our products together and see how can we solve the whole developer workflow together. And that's what we call Git Essentials, which is probably one of the first bundles that we've released from Atlassian, which is really going to market with a whole offering which optimizes that development workflow. So one example is we've automated the setup from JIRA. So if you want to start working on an issue, we know what repository you have configured with that project. We actually launch up a wizard that lets you create a feature branch directly. So we know what the issue key is, we know where your source is, we can actually go create a feature branch directly, whether it be in Stash or in Bitbucket, automatically, without having you having to hunt down any issue names or list of branches. So it's really embedding the workflow that your developers have in the tools. And the other really cool feature as well is embedding that whole workflow in one location. So you can see how code flows. Like, code is a live thing. It's not like you write code and it's done. It goes through a build pipeline. It gets delivered to production. And we're bringing all that information into JIRA, into a new development pane. What's great here is you can actually, as we said, it's the hub where, as a development team, you can see what's going on. One of my personal pet peeves being a developer is when you get a JIRA notification in the mail that someone's just fixed a bug, and putting your developer hat on, you want to go, well, I kind of thought about that. I have no idea how you fix that. I want to get to the code really quickly. So how do you do that? Single click from your email to the JIRA issue, and you can look at the code directly. But the best thing is I want to go play with it in production or in staging, and I want to know when it's going to be in those environments, and I don't have to talk to anybody to go figure it out. So you can actually go to the issue directly and go, oh, I can see it's in staging right now. Let me just type in the staging URL, and I can go look at the feature live. So in some way, it avoids some of those conversations that you ended up having about understanding where code flows. So as a developer, how can you guys make software teams more productive? The first thing is the development panel is extensible. So go please make sure you use it and put some of the, if you're writing an add-on that's trying to make developers more productive, you want to build a monitoring tool for AWS, you want to bring some of that developer information back into JIRA, please add it to the development panel. The second thing is we've invented a lot of patterns about how to bring our products together. So if you're integrating JIRA and Confluence or JIRA and Stash, go look at some of the patterns that we've released over the last year and how we do that, whether it be from authentication to configuration. Let's make sure we keep a really good user experience across the developer workflow, because we're very particular about making sure we optimize it as much as we can. So the third product release that we're really proud of is Service Desk. If you haven't seen Service Desk before, it's really bringing JIRA to the masses. So bringing JIRA to service teams and IT teams internally who are having to service a lot of requests from customers. One of the cool things we did from a developer perspective is we kind of reskinned JIRA. So at the top here, you can see it's basically a JIRA issue that has a very user-friendly portal where you can come in from a customer perspective. So we hide a lot of the complexity of JIRA. We can rename fields. And we can really have a really awesome user experience for people who don't necessarily want to understand how JIRA works. And the other thing is integrating SLAs into the development workflow out of the box, so you can see how your process is working. Now, from a developer perspective, I've got good news and bad news about Service Desk. You want to hear the good news or the bad news first? The good news. I'll start with the good news. So the good news is it's actually built on JIRA, which is, if anything, it's a 10-year journey where proving out that JIRA as a platform is a real thing. And there's really awesome things that we were able to build by leveraging workflows, leveraging the customization that we actually built in JIRA. So that's good news. The bad news is we haven't really released a good API story for Service Desk first. And one of the reasons for that is we really focus on the user experience and really nailing what it's like to have an awesome customer portal and what it's like to have an awesome agent experience within Service Desk. But it doesn't mean that we aren't listening to you. So if you've been using Service Desk or have customers who are using Service Desk and have awesome ideas for add-ons, if you want to go to JSD 107 and go give us your feedback on what you'd like to see in terms of APIs. There's two front runners. The first one is we really do understand that a lot of teams want to configure SLA remotely. So this is basically enforcing some of the process constraints into the system from another tool, for example, or maybe having a central mission control to configuring it. So that's definitely on our radars. And the other thing is providing APIs so you can create and update issues from a customer perspective. That's on our plate as well. So remember, the customer portal gives you a really good experience. And currently you can use JIRA to update tickets, but we don't have a customer portal version of that. So that's on our roadmap as well. But please do give us a lot of feedback. We do think the future of Service Desk itself as a product, we're really thinking of it as a product on its own. Although it's built on JIRA, it really is going to be growing into a product of its own. And we really have to think about what kind of platform Service Desk is going to turn into and what customized extension points that we're going to need. So the fourth product is not really a product, but more a bit of a philosophy about how we're going from a vertical platform to a horizontal one. JIRA and Confluence are going into the enterprise, where we've listened to years of feedback, and we spent a lot of time making sure that from a performance perspective, you can go vertically. So you can throw hardware at JIRA and hardware at Confluence and really get good performance out of it. This year, we've spent a lot of work in the lab making sure that both products are clusterable and can be deployed in kind of high-scale horizontal deployments where you've got the app server deployed on different nodes. You have a shared database. You can scale the database vertically, and we can handle both a huge amount of users, so increasing the performance and increasing the scalability of deployments. So this is shipping very soon. We actually had a workshop yesterday, so hopefully those who have a lot of large customers have been getting some of the details and technical details about actually setting up our products in this deployment mode. From a development perspective, though, we do need a bit of your help to make this successful. The first one is if you have add-ons and you want to make sure that you've got 10 to 20,000 users using those add-ons effectively, go please read our clustering guides for add-ons. So there's definitely some patterns to make sure your add-ons can be clustered. So whether it be how you use caches, there are specific APIs in JIRA and Confluence that you're going to have to use as well. The second thing is actually really close to my heart, which is enterprise is not only about performance, about the back end, it's also about the front end as well. I think I want to ask you to go test your add-ons with a lot of data. One of the problems you're going to have when you write an add-on is you're going to test it with a very small data set. You're going to go, okay, I'm going to have 5 users, there's going to be 20 projects, and there's going to be 3 schemas. But actually in the wild, we've got servers where they've got 100,000 users. They have 500,000 issues. There's just a huge amount of data sets. So if you haven't tried it already, we actually have data generators on Marketplace, which lets you generate data sets for JIRA. I don't think we have one for Confluence yet, but I think that won't be long. So you can actually, as you're developing your add-on, you made it cluster safe. You also go test it with a huge amount of data. So from a user experience, if you're building a dialogue with selection fields and type ahead fields, that you actually really understand what it's like when you have enterprise customers and big customers who really, I guess, they've gotten addicted to our products and they've put a lot of information in it. We need you to think about how you're going to bring that information to customers in a simple way. And last but not least is you're going to hear about Atlassian Verified this week. And that's a way for us to really show our big customers that we've got some really stable vendors. We have some add-ons that have been verified, essentially, that have gone through a set of checklists and that we think, have been, are worthy to be installed, for 20,000 of your users. So please do benefit and take a look at Atlassian Verified as a way that you can show trust of your add-ons to our huge and growing ecosystem, enterprise ecosystem. So the fifth and last product release that I want to mention is something that we've been leaking out kind of slowly, but it's really important because it's really a big platform play. And that's on the theme of better together. If you have an on-demand account, you're going to notice a couple of subtle changes, but rather important. The first one is that, in the same vein that we're bringing our software teams together, we're bringing a lot of our products together. So for example, we're unifying user management so that the way you do user management across JIRA, Confluence, Bamboo, Bitbucket, HipChat is the same. So you can go add a user to the one, it's going to show up in the other. So bringing the products together and making sure that we don't have a kind of disentangled or tangled up user experience around a lot of the setup and configuration. The same thing goes around identity. We're bringing the same identity platform to HipChat, Bitbucket, and OnDemand. Now, powering all of this, and listen, I can go on for ages about Atlassian Connect. You've heard Nick talk about it already. There's going to be so many sessions over the next 2 days. I'm actually not going to go into a huge amount of detail, but powering kind of a lot of the cloud offerings is Connect. So one of the reasons why we're investing so much in evolving what user management looks like in the cloud, how we can simplify identity management, is making it easier for you guys as well to build things in the cloud in a simple way. One of the reasons why Atlassian Connect is really exciting is 50% of our new users are coming in through the cloud, so whether it be HipChat, Bitbucket, or JIRA OnDemand. We have 15% of our add-on bookings coming through our on-demand through the marketplace right now. So of your bookings, 15% of them right now are coming through on-demand, and that's growing year over year. We think the cloud's a great innovation platform. You saw from the HipChat example for Ship It how simple it is to actually build a mashup. There's so many tools out there that make building cloud applications really simple that it makes it easier for you to actually develop and innovate. You guys probably had to hold some of your customers' hands as they were upgrading some of their instances at some point. So the way of developing P2 plugins, although very rich and very powerful, was also not super scalable and safe. The API boundaries were fairly subtle. It was all running in the same Java VM. So we think that a cloud-based architecture, in terms of a long-term scalability, is a lot safer and a lot scalable. So we'll be able to scale our hosting platform to millions and millions of users and have a really rich integration if we think about this from day one. So that's what Connect is about doing, is thinking about how are we going to scale this to millions of users and still allow a rich developer ecosystem to hack it and extend it and make it better. As I said, it's faster and easier. And ultimately, I think one of the great quotes we had from one of our Atlassian Connect early adopters was that they control everything from beginning to end. They don't have to talk to Atlassian. I know we do love talking to customers. It's great when they have their own red button, which means that they can deploy to production whenever they want. You don't have to talk to us. We don't bundle your add-ons anymore, and that's a lot of power. I mean, it gives you a lot of responsibility, but also a lot of flexibility for running your own businesses. I just want to tell you one story about how Atlassian Connect's kind of changed how we've been doing things at Atlassian as well. When we talk about innovating faster, there's one add-on that we wrote in Atlassian that's been causing us a bit of headaches. If you've ever opened a support ticket on support.atlassian.com, we actually let you upload a zip file, which is we take a bunch of logs on your system if something happens, so we can upload it to our support team. We analyze the logs, and we've got kind of like a support doctor that looks at that and comes out with a couple of thermometers and looks at what your health is like. Now, it turns out that looking at a zip file, going through all the files is actually pretty expensive. It's a pretty expensive operation. So what we wanted to do is offload that off of support.atlassian.com, because that shouldn't really run on the same server. We should be able to have that loaded on some other server and come back. So this was an awesome use case for Atlassian Connect. So we converted the Atlassian support zip archive / build doctor to actually go off, run that on another server. So when an issue loads, basically an add-on comes in, looks if there's a zip file. If there is one, transfers it to another server, does all the pre-processing, looks at all the analysis, and actually just posts the results back to the JIRA ticket. So it's been an awesome example of how you can use Connect to actually enhance your user experience and offload some of these heavy operations from some of our servers. And that's kind of the cloud way of thinking. The cloud gives you compute resources all over at on demand in some ways, and you have to be able to leverage that, which is amazing. So we've seen a huge uptake internally in Atlassian by rebuilding some of the tools that we've been building to make our instances better. So again, Seb's going to be talking about this. There's a lot more detail. I think we have a tutorial as well where you can get into some detail around what Connect looks like. So those are our 5 product highlights. Just again, HipChat. We talked about software teams. The third thing was Service Desk as kind of the 3 big product highlights. And then the 2 platform highlights were Data Center and Atlassian Connect, or the cloud in general, and about how those things are really kind of the pillar of our product portfolio and what we've really been working on hard this year. Now, powering all of that, and probably the most exciting part, is what have we've been doing with our marketplace to make that possible. So first thing for me to look at from a numbers perspective is I'm a numbers guy. I'm like, are people building more add-ons on our platform or not? So the good news is, although you'd think that maybe you run out of ideas at some point, it's actually not happening in practice. And there's more and more add-ons that are being created by people around the world, which is great. So we're talking north of 50% new add-ons every year, which is great. And we're going to end the year this year at 1,500 add-ons in the Atlassian marketplace. Now, to put that into perspective, what does 1,500 mean? There's a company, and I won't name its name, who's probably 10 times the size of Atlassian, and we're in very close second of having the largest enterprise add-on marketplace in the entire world. So that's really impressive. And I want to thank everyone for making this happen. I think it's great. This is going to continue to happen. Now, this is a big number, which is good, but I think there's a number that you probably care about a bit more. And that's, what have you gotten out of this? So one thing I want to reiterate is there's a lot of people in this room that have been on a journey with us for the last 2 years. We've asked them to change a bit of their business model. We've asked them to say, if we could sell all of our add-ons through the marketplace, we're going to remove a lot of friction for our users. We're going to make it easier for them to evaluate and buy. We can have a better support experience. We can have a single license, so our customers don't necessarily have to go and agree to different licenses all over the place. We're really, really maniacal about making sure the marketplace ultimately gives an awesome, better experience for our customers who are installing add-ons, evaluating them, searching for them, and understanding what you've built, what's available. I think that's translated into a lot of zeros. So over the last 2 years, we've paid out $25 million to our marketplace ecosystem. That's a huge number. And I think I just want to thank everyone for, going on the journey with us. I know it was a bit of a leap of faith on your path. But let's look this is the past. $25 million. It's, that's gone through the marketplace. It's gone into add-on developers' pockets, which is great. But I think I'm actually more excited about the future. The future shows a huge growth curve. We've increased bookings going through the marketplace by 191% year over year from this time last year. So it's on a huge ramp, which is great. And I think that's with 410 paid via Atlassian add-ons that have been added to the marketplace. So thanks a lot for doing that. And I think it means a lot to us that you've trusted us and have gone on the journey. We've taken a lot of your feedback to heart. And customer experience is really important to us. And some of the key features we released in 2014 are trying to make sure that you see us reinvesting in making it so much easier for everyone using the marketplace to find your add-ons, to use them. One of the first things that we've done is we wanted to hide technology from our users. So you'll notice, and maybe some of you haven't, that if you go to Marketplace, we don't mention the word Connect. We don't, our customers don't care how you've built your add-on. They don't care if it's written in Node.js or some other technology. They don't really care. And we've done that on purpose because we think from an add-on consumer perspective, what's more important is that it's easy for them to figure it out if you solve their problem, and how easily and how quickly can they get your thing installed and running. So this year, what we call is single click everywhere, making sure it's easy for our customers to install, whether it be a Connect add-on or a P2 add-on. We've kind of blurred all those lines. And that's really, really important to us. You'll see more and more work around making sure those lines are blurred. We have a new feature coming up. I don't have a demo of it, of making that single click happen even better, where you don't have to go to Mac. So Mac is basically myatlassian.com, where you have to go generate licenses. We're taking all that as well. So there's no more going to Mac. We can just single click and make that add-on install experience as awesome as possible. The other thing we've done is we took the vendor dashboard and realizing those 1,500 add-ons that you're building, we want to make it very, very simple for you to go into the marketplace, go add new add-ons, update the versions. So we've ADGified, which means apply the Atlassian design guidelines to the whole vendor pages. We've made it easier for you to upload, install, add new versions, all from within the marketplace as well. So again, make it easier for you to be creating new add-ons. And the third thing is Atlassian Verified. If you haven't gone and looked at the Atlassian Verified page on Marketplace, it's actually really useful just as a checklist for things that you want to be thinking about as a vendor and as an add-on developer about how to kind of go from an idea to really something that's shipping, that's installed in thousands and thousands of customers' instances, things that you have to think about really having a commercial business and commercial software in the wild. So the Atlassian Verified logo and program for us is really just making sure that you guys can have a really good checklist of understanding what it's like to bring an add-on to production quality and to scale globally, and also for our consumers and users of using this kind of have a trust check mark that their add-ons are not going to not make their upgrade process harder, that they've gone through some diligence as well. And there's one last feature that's actually went onto Marketplace last week. Has anybody noticed this yet? A couple of you? We're trying to make all the data that we have in Marketplace available to you as quickly as possible. We think that you're running businesses, you're deciding how much to invest in building add-ons on the Atlassian stack, and one of the things we're trying to do very well is bring all the data that we have and make it available for you. So what you're looking at right now is UPM data analytics coming back in the Marketplace. And what we're doing is we're tracking where your add-on has been installed, what version of the products, and you can kind of see a histogram here of kind of the half-life of how many versions of the base products or add-ons are actually running in. So the conclusion here is we want to give you more data about your customers so you can make better business decisions and you can run your business better. So from the sales reports that we give you to where your add-ons are created. So there's one question that I've been getting for 3 years that I'm really happy I haven't gotten in the 24 hours since I've been here so far. And that's, hey, Jean-Michel, can you guys guess? How can I write an add-on for OnDemand? So the good news is I haven't had that question anymore, which is awesome, because we've had it for 3 years. So that's what Atlassian Connect solved, which is awesome. But what's interesting is some of the design philosophy around Atlassian Connect that's, I think, really important for you to understand. The first one is standardization. What you saw with HipChat and Bitbucket and JIRA and Confluence is we've got one extensibility framework now that we're applying across the board. We've got a new developer portal where we're documenting things, how we do REST APIs, how we do REST API deprecation, what our forward compatibility statements are. That's standard across all our stacks. So it's not going to be different in JIRA. It's not going to be different in Confluence. It's going to be the same across the whole stack. And I think that's going to make it easier for you to do things and build add-ons that are going to work across different products. Because the web is making a lot of products work really well together. And I think that's why it's important that in Atlassian Connect, we keep that same web philosophy and make it easy for you to connect and use all of our products together. So standardization is really important with Atlassian Connect. And the other thing is simplicity, making a developer workflow really easy. If you haven't yet, go create an Atlassian Connect add-on. There is one page. So if you go to connect.atlassian.com, there's a getting started page. And there's no Maven to install. It's actually really simple. And I think we're going to continue to make it simpler and simpler over time as well. And we want to make sure that developer experience is simpler because we want more add-ons ultimately to be created. So super excited that Connect shipped. The other thing that's pretty impressive is it took us 2 years to get around 250 add-ons in the plugin exchange. So from 2008 to around 2010. it's taken us 2 months to get around 300 Connect add-ons created, which is pretty amazing. So we've gone from 2 years to 2 months, and we have 4,500 customers that have installed and are running an Atlassian Connect add-on in OnDemand today. So within 2 months, a huge amount of adoption, and I think that standardization and simplicity is really paying off, and we're super excited about that. So a takeaway is there's definitely a lot of work to be done here. From a developer's perspective, what can you look forward to in Connect 2.0? The first thing is we're bringing Connect everywhere. So it released in 1.0 with support for JIRA and Confluence. It's going to be coming to Bitbucket and HipChat. And we're going to make it easier and easier for you to connect Atlassian Connect add-ons to BTF as well. Now, Connect add-ons, as I said, they have to fit into the application. Our users don't really know if it's written in Connect or it's written some other way. So what's really important to make all this technology come together is making sure you guys leverage our design guidelines. And these are kind of the 6 logos from our ADG, the Atlassian Design Guidelines webpage. And 2 things we've done to make it easier for you guys is we've added a lot of new patterns to the Atlassian Design Guidelines. So things like charting, email templates, and forms. We're adding a lot more standardization. But the cool thing is we've actually extended the AWE sandbox. And for each one of the patterns, the design patterns in the Atlassian Design Guidelines, there's actually a link to the API docs and to the sandbox where you can go and actually see the actual code behind the toolkits. So one of the things that's really easy is you can use this for easy mocking up. So you can actually cut and paste some of this code. You can edit it. You can actually save snippets now as well. So if you want to go and create a simple form for your Connect app, you want to cut and paste that into your HTML file, you can actually go do that in the sandbox directly. And we've created an awesome link between all the patterns and the actual source code. So there's no reason why your Connect app or your P2 app shouldn't look as sexy as anything that's being built out of Atlassian. So please go leverage the design guidelines. Now I'm going to leave you in the marketplace section with the one question that I have been getting a lot. So I'm not being asked about what are we going to do for the cloud and how you can write add-ons for OnDemand. But what I am being asked about is what's the relationship between P2 and Connect? Like, are they friends? Are they sisters? Is one taking over the other? What does it look like? And I just want to, I think the best way to explain this is to give you a bit of a timeline. So, around 2 years ago, it was all P2. And P2 being our Java extensibility platform, in-process, OSGI-based extensibility platform. And Connect was very, very small font. It was kind of a twinkle in a bunch of our eyes at the time, and that was it. This year, think of P2 and Connect as twins, as good brothers that go well together. P2 still solves some problems that you can't solve with Connect. P2 is great when you've got very detailed integration extensibility you want to build, whether it be for enterprise customers or very complicated integrations. Connect is for everything else. Connect is for if you want to go to OnDemand, it's your only option. It's also going to be your option for HipChat, Bitbucket, and in this year enabling that to work with all the BTF customers that we have that actually have internet accessible instances, which is a huge amount of customers. And into the future, P2 and Connect still both play a role, but P2's role is going to be diminishing, and P2 is going to be a really good tool for those very fine-grained, complicated technical integrations or customizations you want to make to our products. And we're keeping P2 and the OSGI/Java extensibility platform in our products, and we still leverage it a lot. But from an ecosystem perspective, Connect's going to be taking on a lot more. So again, it's going to be standardized across all of our products. And with BTF support and the ability to actually use this on all internet accessible products, it's going to be what we recommend the de facto way of writing add-ons. So what's coming up this year? Now this is where things get a bit exciting. Now, I'm going to show you a demo of how all the things you've seen today are going to be coming together next year and what the developer experience really looks like when we take Atlassian Connect, when we take some of our cloud products, and we think about what are the big developer pains and how we can use some of the tools that we've been building to make it easier. So meet HipChat, as you know it today. So Ace Ventura, and this is actually Paul Slade. So he's the engineering lead for JIRA. There's a bit of a resemblance. They're both pretty crazy dudes, and one of the things they do a lot of is customizing HipChat. So one of the first development pain points is, as a developer, is finding out, how do I customize an app? Like, where can I go extend HipChat? So one of the things we're experimenting with in the labs is what we call the Extend Me feature, which is making products ship with extensibility in the UI from day one. So instead of having to go to the online documentation, trying to cut and paste what kind of API key that I have to use to figure out what web panel, why don't we put that directly into the product? There's no reason why we shouldn't. So imagine the product now is in extensibility mode. So now it's easy to say, hey, I can plug into a couple spots. Now, in the bottom, I can actually go and extend the chat window. Maybe I want to go create a bot. Or maybe I want to put a pane on the left side here so I can put a bit of statistics about the room. So one of the things we're excited about is about how, with all the cloud technology we've built now, we can start building some of this awesome developer experience right into our products. So imagine a button at the bottom here that you can go create an add-on directly from the product. I want to create an add-on that's going to add a pane to the side here. So if you guys have used the Atlassian CLI, you know that we have a bunch of skeleton creators that create it from the command line. I want that in the products now. We're going to be giving you that in the products. We can generate code and generate skeletons that are hosted in Bitbucket directly. What's really amazing here is, what can we do if we know what product you're extending from day one? Let me see. Whoops, back one. Is we can actually go and we know what IDs you're generating. We know what REST APIs you're using. We can actually do content assist on REST APIs now, because we started from HipChat. We started from a product. We created a skeleton for you because we knew exactly where you're extending. We knew what the IDs were. We generated a manifest for you. And by the way, we can put that in HipChat. We can host your code for you somewhere. Now notice a run button up at the top. Guess what this does? If you've written a Connect app, you'll realize that most Connect apps are client-side. It's all written in JavaScript and HTML, and it's calling a bunch of services. So what the run button lets you do here is basically deploy your app in the cloud and serve it up to HipChat. So HipChat's got a little web panel running here, and when you run it, it appears right away in the product. So there's no going from the command line. There's no Atlas CLI/PI. We're leveraging the fact that we can serve up this Connect app from Bitbucket and host it directly in your products. Now, what's really exciting is we can make it social as well. And why can't you fork add-ons from the UI as well? So you guys can contribute and have a really social scene. So this is not black magic. This is all stuff that is really going to be happening in the next year, and it's really building on all the foundation that you guys have helped us build. Whether it be thinking about extensibility from day one in our products and building it in from day one, to investing in making sure that our products have extensibility and have an awesome cloud framework. So I'm really excited because I think this is what you're going to be seeing this time next year, and how easy we want to make it for developers. And I think Atlassian's leading the way worldwide and really building an awesome and powerful developer platform. So we've given you guys the community, we've given you the tools, and we're not afraid of making big bets at Atlassian. And you've seen that the latest big bet is the cloud. So I think the thing that I want to leave you with for the next couple of days is, this is still a developer conference. So I definitely want to see laptops out in between the sessions, developing something. If there's something that if you haven't developed a Connect app yet before, if you haven't developed something on our platform, please make sure in the next 2 days you do leave with some code running, and you've bugged someone if there's something you don't understand, because we want to make sure this does remain a developer conference, and we want to get a lot of feedback. And I can't wait to see what you guys build next. So thanks.